Hi, this is the help video for Excel Chapter 1, Pause and Practice number 2, beginning at step number 8. So in the first movie, we completed most of the data entry, and now we're just going to make the worksheet look professional, right? So if we look at it now, it's not very easy to read. So one of the things is, if you look at the numbers that are 1,000 or more, it's nice to have that comma. That's how we like to read numbers. It makes it easier to chunk them into threes. So we have, I mean, it's just kind of, I mean, the numbers are right. It just doesn't look very professional. So we're going to change that. Look at step 8, apply cell styles. So what the heck is cell styles? Well, I'm going to open up the screen so you can see this better. On the Home tab, it's this big area right here called Styles. And if I use the More button, so that's this little down arrow with a line above it. And what that will always do is open up what's known as the gallery. So this gallery shows me different styles that I can apply to part of the data on my worksheet. So if we take a look at this, it wants us to select A1 and then use the title style. So let me open this up. I'm on A1. I'm going to open up my gallery by clicking the More button, and I'm going to find the style called title. And one of the nice things about these styles is they have preview. So as you're moving through it, your selected cell range will modify and apply that style. If you find the one you like, you click, that style is then applied to that cell or range of cells. So we're going to go to A2, and this time we're going to find the heading 2 style. So I'm on the right range, the More, heading 2. So you can see it's a bold, the font with a blue line underneath of it, right? So that's what's built out of that heading 2 style. And one of the things about styles is you can start with that and then tweak it and then make those tweaks part of the style. All right, so we're on step E. Select cells A10 through, remember the little colon means through, I10. So I'm going to come over here, A10 through I10. So that's that total row. So that would make sense that I'm going to use the total style. So I'm going to do cell styles, total. And look at what total has. It's a thin line above it, bold, and then a double line below it. For those accounting people, you know that double line at the end means it's the end of your exhibit. So that's the end of the report. That's kind of the standard use. That double line means there's no more below it. Okay, so we have the total. So now if you look at step G, it's a little more complex in that we're throwing in non-adjacent ranges. So far we've just done what are called adjacent cells, meaning they're next to each other. We can just click, drag, right, and I can select because they're all next to each other. But when I want to select non-adjacent cells that are not touching each other, or they're not in a rectangle, you know, they're not in a square or a rectangle, you have to use the control key when you let go of your mouse to go select a second range. So the technique is I'm going to select this first range, A4 through A10. Oops, go this way. So that, and I let go of my mouse, right? So now if I go to select this next range, B4 through I4, right, you see the first range goes away. So I have to have some way to kind of lock that first range in, and that's the control key. So if I press and hold the control key, before I come up to select my B4 through I4, it allows me to keep this first selection and add a different selection. So I can really, as long as I have that control key down, look, I can go anywhere and select it. The minute I let go and click somewhere, it's all gone. So let me go through that again. I select A4 through A10, press and hold my control, keep it down, B4 through I4, I let go of my mouse. I let go of my control. Now, as long as I don't click anywhere in this spreadsheet, but only up here in the ribbon, I'm good, right? The minute I would click down in the spreadsheet, then that selection is gone. So I have my non-adjacent cells selected. I want to go up to my cell styles. And what I want to do is this 20% accent 1. So right there, 20% accent 1. And look over at my what I have selected, right? It takes on that look. So now it has that. And all I need to do to deselect this range is to click somewhere else. So now those all have that blue background. I'm going to take a second to save. And I use this little quick save. It looks like a picture of a disk, which many of you have never used a disk, but that's what that is. It looks like a floppy disk. All right, so we're going to do 9. Change the theme and apply font attributes. Okay, so we're going to leave the Home tab and go to page layout. And so what I want to do is take a minute here to talk about themes. Themes are a collection of standards. So there's 3 major categories to a theme: the color palette used, the font sets that are used, and the special effects that are used. So when I come here to themes and I click that down and I pick something, so they want us to pick facet. So it's this one. Watch my fonts over here and the colors when I do it. The font style changes, the color palette changes, all of that, right? So if I do any of these, you'll see the fonts changing, the colors. We want facet. So when you're doing your instructions, you want to really be careful. Are they saying theme, or are they saying theme color or theme font? Because look in this theme group, each of those elements are broken out into a subset. So you could change the theme, which has all 3 categories, or you can come up here and just change the theme, like theme color, theme font. If you get to a point and it's asking for a color that you don't have, you missed a step to change the color palette through theme colors or the overall themes. Okay. All right, so let's go ahead and select A4, go to the Home tab. So the next thing they want to do is change the font to Kendara. So right now it's Trebuchet MS because that's what came with that font, that theme that we did. We're going to click this down arrow. These are in alphabetic order, but I can just start typing CAN and it's going to take us. So you don't have to keep scrolling. I'm going to click on that. And then the font size, which is measured in points. A point is 1/72 of an inch. So 72 points equals 1 inch. So the bigger the point size, the bigger the letter. So we want 16. And you'll see that's grew when we did it. And bold. So we have A4 changed to Kendara, 16 bold. So now it's asking me to select A5 through I10. So this middle stuff, we're going to make it 12. Okay. So we're on number 10 now. Format Painter. So the Format Painter is this paintbrush on the Home tab. And the purpose of the Format Painter is to pull up or suck up from the cell all the format that was used. Then you can take that paintbrush and paint it across a cell or range of cells. How the Format Painter works is if you click it one time, it allows you to paint that format one place. If you double click on it, it lets you paint until you're done, and then you go back up and click on the paintbrush again. So in this case, we're going to just paint it one location. So I just have to single click. But before you do it, you want to make sure you're in the cell that has the formatting that you want to copy, basically. So we're going to sit on A4. I'm going to click on the paintbrush. My mouse then is going to have a paintbrush attached, and I want to select B4 all the way across to I4. So now whatever this A4 had in terms of formatting is now applied to those cells, and look, my paintbrush is gone. If I had double clicked, the paintbrush would have been there and I could have went other places and kept painting. Okay. So we got this big, but now it's kind of a mess, right? So we know we have more stuff to do. Okay, so we're on 11. So we've done some stuff with text, but let's look at numbers. So the first thing I'm going to do is select B5 through I9. So this stuff in the middle, right? And the number formatting is on the home group in this number group here. So let's see, we want to do comma style, right? Okay, so if I look at this, there's right here. This is accounting, percent, comma style. Increase and decrease decimals, right? So I want to apply the comma style to these numbers. So after I select my range, I come up here and I click on the comma. And what you see then is I get a comma every thousandths and 2 decimal places. Well, if we take a look at this, all of my decimals are 0, 0. So it's just really a waste of space. It makes it more cluttered. It's not, there's no meaning to those decimals. So I'm going to use the decrease decimal. See, it's still selected. I'm going to decrease, decrease. So I'm going to hit it however many times I need to get rid of the 2 insignificant decimal places. So now if we look at those, very cool. We have the numbers. They're aligned nicely, but then I look down here and this total doesn't look right, right? So we want to fix that up. So we're going to select those numbers. So B10 through I10. And it wants us to do the accounting style. So here's the accounting style. There's really 2 styles that use this $sign, accounting and currency. You just want to watch. If it's accounting, you just can click on this $sign. If it's currency, you have to come up here and use the down arrow to find currency. We're going to do accounting. And then I get, oh my gosh, I get all these railroad ties, all these pound signs. Okay, don't freak out. That just means the column is not wide enough to display the numbers in the current format. Well, there's a couple things we can do for that. We can increase the width of the column. We can decrease the number of decimals. We can make the point size smaller on the font, right? In this case, I know I want to get rid of those 0, 0s. So I'm going to do that first and see if I still have any $signs in the cells. So I'm going to come up here and say decrease, decrease. And look, they all show up. Never, ever turn in a work to me that is showing me $signs instead of numbers. You need to fix that, right? So now it's all lined up nice. These do not have the $sign, the totals. And so that's often a standard is the first and the last have the $signs. In this case, we just did it in the totals. But you certainly can see that the numbers represent currency. Okay. So now we're going to select B4 through I4, and we want to align these right, because look underneath, the numbers are right aligned. Numbers are always right aligned for us, right? Because we want our ones, tens, hundreds, those columns to be lined up, and they're right aligned. So we want to match these, headers. So
Sorry,
B4.
I couldn't hear what you said.
Oh, sorry, Siri. B4 through I4. And I want to come up here to alignment, and I want to right align. So right there, align right. It's going to shift all of those. Now look, Wednesday's still not showing, but we'll fix that. But now everything is to the right. It's kind of over top, although I don't really like that. Was I supposed to do I4? Yeah. Okay. Boy, I does not look right. There we go. That's better. Align, okay, apply bold to A10. So I'm going to go to A10. I'm going to click the B for bold, and that's good. I'm going to take a second to save because I don't want to lose any of that. And now we're on to borders, right? So if I do a file print to do a preview, right? So it's okay. I'm missing some stuff here. I'm missing Wednesday. This line, there's some things that I could do to make it look better, right? And so one of the things is to apply some borders. So we want to select A4 through I10. That's the whole thing. We want to put borders on there, and so the border is, I'm going to open this up so you can see. It's in the font group, and it's this box right there. So I'm going to click that down and select where it says all borders. So now that's okay, but now I lost my double line at the bottom, right? Which tells it's the end. So now I want to select A10 through I10. And they're telling you to do a Control 1. Oops. And that takes you to this format cells. But I do want to show you the long way to do that, or the way that I really do it. So in this font group, right here, this is called the Dialog Box Launcher. So if I click on that, I'm going to get to my format cells, and then there's the borders, right? So you can do, oh, I can't do this while I'm, so you want to get to the borders. So Dialog Box Borders. Click the bottom border here in the picture. And what that's going to do is remove it. If there's a border, it removes it. If there's not, it places it. So it toggles it, right? So we're going to toggle it because we want to remove that single line at the bottom. And we're going to select over here in the style, we're going to select this double line and come and put the double line back in, right? So even though it's not green, it's got the double solid line there. We're going to do OK. And if I click off, now you can see there's that double line. That means it's the end of my exhibit. So now we're going to select A2. Let me make sure I didn't get lost. Select A2 through I2. We're going to go back to the format border. In this case, look at this. It's gray. It's not a line. It's not empty. It's gray. And what that signifies from Excel is that the range that you have, let me cancel out of here and show you. This one has a line, a border, and these don't. So when you do this, Excel's like, I don't know what to put there because some of them have a line and some of them don't. So do I put a line? Do I not put a line? It puts the gray to tell you that it's mixed. So what we're going to do is we're going to click on that. It's going to put the border on it, and we don't want that. We're going to click it again to remove it because we want to put a green line in there. So we're making sure that we're sitting on this type of a border here, and then we're going to go to color, and we want to find the dark green column, accent 2, go down and find darker 25. So now we have the style and the color, and now I just need to go and place it. Oh wait, thick solid line, second column, fifth style. Sorry, this one. 1, 2, 3, 4. This one here, sorry. Right here, color, click, OK. And now we've got that line all the way across, right? So that technique is a little different because it was mixed. It came up gray. We have to take that. It'll put a line in there, but we don't want that line. So we took that line away, fixed it to be the line that we want. Okay. All right, we're going to select A1. Save it. And we are done with Pause and Practice 2. All right, thank you.